distancing, MSA is embracing social media to reach you in this difficult time of COVID-19 pandemic. Everybody is facing this difficult situation. As you might be aware, Maanaw Seva Association is a non-profit charitable organization. It was established in 1990 by a group of dedicated volunteers to help people improve their quality of life. MSA has been organizing various seminars and projects in the past to help people directly as well as indirectly in Edmonton as well as internationally. You know, due to coronavirus, almost every person has been affected. Millions of people have lost their jobs, and some of the people whose hours have been reduced. So people are in stress. People are under this stress. This mental stress has taken a lot of our main enjoying life. As always, Maanaw Seva has decided to organize a talk on stress. It will certainly bring awareness and knowledge regarding the topic of mental health and stress. Today's speaker is Dr. Kulshan Gill, who is a holistic health practitioner in Edmonton. She holds a Bachelor of Naturopathy degree from Canadian College of Naturopathy Medicine in Toronto. She also had training in mind-body medicine, stress management, relaxation therapy from Harvard Medical School. She is an eminent motivational speaker and a community advocate. She often presents talks from an educational perspective to build healthier communities. The main focus of her services is in the area of mind-body medicine, stress management, relaxation therapy, and women's health. Before I invite Dr. Gill, let me ask you for your contributions, because with your contribution we will start making it more better for you people. MSA has been able to do this good work with your help, and we hope to continue this effort again and again. We need your assistance to spread the word through your contacts to help many more people who are not yet connected with us, who are not on Maanaw Seva's Facebook link. We would love to hear from you as well. You want to give your suggestions. Please add your suggestions in the comment box. Thank you, and Dr. Kulshan, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Kulshan Gill and I am a holistic health practitioner here in Edmonton. And first of all, I want to thank the Maanaw Seva Association for giving this opportunity to me once again to present a very important topic on mental and emotional wellness, especially during this COVID situation and social isolation times. So before I begin, I would just like to have a little bit of a disclaimer that all the information that I share here today is purely for educational purposes. In any regards that if you feel there is a need for your addressing your specific medical concerns, whether that's a physical concern or a mental health issue, please do reach out to your family physician or another healthcare provider to seek those services and get yourself checked out. So let's talk about the mental health and wellness issue. This is a good time to have this discussion and this presentation because this is also the Mental Health Awareness Week, which is from May 4th to May 10th. Most of you might know from the Canadian Mental Health Association, every year this is held during this time period. And I think it gives an opportunity to reflect on what's important from a mental, emotional wellness perspective. So, since we've been in this social isolation and social distancing time period because of the coronavirus, it's led to a lot of questions regarding our mental health. There's been several effects we've seen, and three primary ones that have been most important to notice have been in the areas of physical wellness, which we all know about: the social distancing, maintaining hygiene, hand washing, using a mask, and so on and so forth. And we are very well aware with all the information that's been provided so far. The second area is the mental and emotional wellness. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And this is what we're experiencing. The more sort of the area that the symptoms are coming through during this time period after, say, about almost 6 weeks of being in isolation. And the third area is the spiritual effect because of this. And we're not talking about that. Nobody's mentioning about what that means, but I'll throw some light at the end of my discussion during this online video. So let's start with what we've seen with our mental emotional challenges during this time. So in the initial stages, when we were all told to stay home because of the coronavirus and there was the restrictions put in place, we were sort of very optimistic. We took as a positive challenge to go into this isolation period. Some of us were excited actually that this will give us some more time to be at home, to gather the family. Children especially were very excited because school was suddenly shut down way earlier than expected, and they were going to be just sort of homeschooled or have classes online. And similarly, a lot of people who go to work were also sort of taking it in an optimistic way, very positive thought that maybe perhaps this is for a short period of time. Now we're going to go work from home. Perhaps that will give us some time in the morning. We don't have to rush 2 hours earlier to commute or get up early and get ready and go to work. So we were having this kind of a positive outlook, and we were aware that this was necessary. But then as time moved on, it rolled by, all this optimism sort of started to turn into more of frustration. Some of us perhaps noticed some anger, more anxiety about what the future holds, and a lot of depression as well. And now we're at a point where something I call as isolation fatigue has set in. So these are the several stages we've noticed. And right now, as of today, what I'm talking, we're almost about 6 to 7 weeks into this sort of lockdown, if I can call it. We are experiencing a lot of frustration and boredom. And this is how our mental and emotional wellness has been impacted. And especially, I would say, for a lot of people, this is not specifically only just adults of a specific age group, but women, children, seniors, everybody's been affected by this situation. So what can we do about it? Today what I'm going to share is just very simple tips, perhaps that will provide some insight and help us cope with this situation. So the first and foremost important thing, I'm going to categorize it into mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects. So let's talk about mental health. Number one, and the most important one thing that we all should do is communication. Yes, that's correct, communication. And when I say communication, I do not mean that you pick up a phone, type a message, and send it through either WhatsApp or just a text message. Not that kind of a communication. The communication I'm talking about is about that physical, verbal interaction that you can have with another person, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, it's a work colleague, whoever it might be. But it's very important to have a physical interaction. And when I say physical, obviously we cannot come into contact physically with another person or another relative or a friend. But verbally, either you pick up the phone and make a call, or you FaceTime, or you do it through Skype or video call, whatever works for you. Now this is what happens. There are two things that will happen with this. One is when I'm expressing the emotion as in a physical person, as I can see you in front of me, the whole body language changes. All our five senses come to life. We're able to use our expressions, whether we are happy, we're sad, we're angry, we're crying, we're laughing. We're exchanging that energy, we're exchanging that communication, and we can see it. We're not bottled up. So the one thing that you do is when you pick up the phone and you make a call, say for example, if I'm calling somebody, I'm picking up the phone, I'm actually what is going on emotionally inside me. I'm making an effort to reach out to another human person. I'm making that effort that this is what emotionally I feel like doing. I want to reach out to this person to ask about their well-being, whether they're my parents, my friends, my relatives, whoever it could be. And I want to express my happiness, anger, sadness, whatever it could be, the emotion, to just talk to this other person. And I'm doing an act in a way of service, in kindness, or just of concern. So I have expressed that emotional outlet already. Now the other side, the receiving end, the person who's receiving that call, what is that person going to experience? Well, they are feeling valued. Why? Because if I've called somebody, I've called you, and you at the other end have been just feeling lonely, you will feel happy that somebody's thinking about you, that you're important to somebody, that you're a valued person. We all know that loneliness is the number one reason of depression and anxiety. So this sort of communication helps us to release our emotional stress, to talk about how we're feeling. We're just not keeping everything bottled up. We're communicating in that sense, and this is very, very important in today's time. Earlier I mentioned briefly about how it's impacted everybody, young and old. Let's talk about children for a minute here. Young children, especially say for about anybody above the age of 8 and above, they sort of have a general understanding. They're able to cope slightly better in terms of they can independently do their work or play or draw and whatever they might have an outlet for. But younger children, say the kids who are not going to school or younger than 5 years old, they're very young to express their emotions, how they're feeling, whether they're stressed, they're scared, they're depressed, they're anxious. These are not the terms that little children understand. And this is a time they're experiencing all of this as well. And mind you, remember, this whole transition since the time the restrictions went into place, since we've all been homebound, has been in a very short period of time and has evolved very quickly. So we haven't had a chance to cope with it in a very sort of a extended period of time. So for young children, it's difficult to express how they're feeling. So they might act out, they might throw tantrums, they're irritable, they're crying for no reason. So these are the things that you perhaps want to look into. And if you have young children at home, sit them down, talk to them, explain what's going on. Explain at their level what they understand what's going on. Because there is also somewhere a sense of fear that we are all experiencing. Say for example, oh, if I'm going to step outside, if I'm going to touch this, would I get the virus? If I'm going to store, if I touch something, am I going to get the virus? So children absorb this information very fast. So it's very important to address these concerns. The second thing is that this is also an opportunity for us to let go of some things, let go of our anger, perhaps even look at forgiveness. And when I say this, it's another release, another form of release for our stress, for our emotional stress. So for example, if you've had, some bad relationship with a family person, a relative, a sibling, a parent, or maybe your friends, maybe a couple of years ago you guys were not on talking terms. But this might be just an opportunity to let go of that apprehension, that anger, and just pick up the phone and call them just to say how they're doing. And this might just give you that emotional release that's not bottled up and not impacting your mental health and your own well-being. Perhaps it also gives an opportunity for the other person to recognize that, okay, there's some room for, improvement here. Maybe perhaps, you're not going and hugging them, but you're just extending that hand of saying, hey, just checking on you, how you're feeling. This is also the time to self-reflect. Take care of yourself. What are your future goals? What's important for you? The second thing that we need to take care of for our mental and emotional wellness is media exposure. Yes, that's correct, media exposure. There's a lot of information circulating every day through WhatsApp messages, for Facebook, for your Twitter accounts, whatever you use. I just want to let you know that every morning when you get up, start with a good intention. Please do not just get up and pick up your phone and check the 10,000 WhatsApp messages that have come to you from all over the world. It might be positive, it might be negative. Mostly we're just getting the same feedback, mostly about the coronavirus and the situation, and it kind of gives you that negative feeling that it's all gloom and doom, that we don't know where we are. People are dying, people are sick, economy is ruined, and there's so much of illness around in the world. So when we're constantly getting that feedback, we're constantly looking at these messages, what are we doing? We're absorbing that information, but also we're forwarding these to the next 10 people. Again, we're not breaking through this cycle. We're not getting anything positive out of this. So we're constantly in that circle of negative information. We're impacting our mental health and wellness in that sense. So I would request that yes, you need to be updated. Yes, you need to get the information from day to day. Just pick a news channel that you will watch once a day, or perhaps the radio network that you listen to, and just listen to the news once a day. That's enough. You will get all the information that you need. So it's very important to break that cycle of negative information that you are getting. Even for that matter, all the jokes and all the funny stuff that's coming in out. Give yourself some time to just let, the media detox, I call it. Just let go of all that necessary, the need to know about information on Facebook, on social media, on Twitter and whatnot. Do watch this video, please, because this is on Facebook. Moving on, there is another concept that's coming along is the sense and the need to be productive during this time. There's actually two more things with that. So what I mean by that, we're all seeing these new videos and sessions that are happening. People are saying, oh, well, you have all this time now. What should you do? Learn a new hobby, learn how to cook a new meal, take up some craft. So there's a certain sense of urgency that's come up that we need to do all this at this time just because we have all this time. Now, don't get under this pressure, please, because that's again creating a lot of mental stress that I'm not doing something that everybody else is doing. It's okay not to be productive. It's okay not to learn a new skill at this time. What I do request is take time for yourself. Take time for self-care. Maybe perhaps at your own pace what you like to do, take time for that. But do not get caught in this web of like so-and-so is doing this or 10,000 other people are being productive, I'm not. The other thing that we're all having challenges with is the sense of service in this time. Volunteering, helping the needy. And I have no qualms about it. I'm not complaining at all. It's a good thing. It's an excellent thing that we can reach out to several people who need our help at this time. But again, a lot of us are being caught in that web. If I am unable to help, I'm not able to go out and help somebody. I'm not able to provide 100 meals to somebody. I'm not able to go out and take care of certain senior population. And that's okay. We are not here in a rat race because that's another sense that we are being pressurized into, that we have to help out, we have to volunteer, we have to go out there in the world and do some good. If you can, excellent, but if you can't, don't beat yourself about it. I personally believe charity begins at home. So if you don't have this opportunity of going out and helping those 10,000 people outside somewhere, start at home. Maybe spend time with your family members. Help out in the home itself. Help out your spouse in the daily chores at home, with the kids or with your parents, whatever it may be, but start where you are. Moving on, a very, very important thing here. Stop complaining. Yes, you heard me right. Stop complaining. In recent weeks, we are so frustrated, we've been overwhelmed with information, and we are bored. We want to get out and do things. So we have this another outlet where we are having that sense of complaining. For example, the government's not doing enough. Politicians are doing enough. Certain other facilities are not providing the excellent care that's necessary. Certain materials are running low. Or, this lockdown should have ended way early. We've seen in recent time that we have these conflicting views. This should be done, this shouldn't be done. Even with the new restrictions to be lifted off, people are, complaining. It's too early, it's too late. So here's the thing. Acceptance makes things easier. And what do I mean by that? Yes, we are in a stressful situation. There's no denying that. I'm not saying to be in denial. Yes, this is a difficult and challenging time for everybody, not only you and me, but every single person around the world. But the sooner we recognize that this is an issue, this is a time that's challenging, the path of least resistance comes along. The more we are doing butting heads together, the more difficult it's becoming for us to cope with the situation. So please accept the situation, however stressful it is. We will all come out together from this. Everybody is involved in this situation. And please remember that each person in this world, in whatever facility they are, whatever capacity they are, they're trying to do their best to cope with it, to help, to make things better, whether it's our lawmakers, whether those are politicians, healthcare providers, grocery workers, and even people at home, even your own family members. So it's very important to understand that. And never again forget to take care of your own well-being, especially women. I would like to reach out to at this time because there's a sudden change. Women who work outside but also take care of families at home. And now at this time, our home housebound duties have increased twice as much. We've got more cooking to do, we've got more laundry to take care of, and we've got a lot of work to do at home. The second half I would like to focus on is physical aspect. This would involve diet, sleep, and exercise. 3 things that every doctor tells you to do, but it is very much more important to do during this time. So let's talk about emotional health. Well, it's got a lot to do with your mental emotional health. So these days we've seen that we're cooking quite a lot at home, and because the restaurants are closed and our usual social interaction outdoors or going to a restaurant eating out is kind of at a very minimal level, so we've started cooking different dishes at home. We're cooking extremely fried foods or too many desserts or experimenting with new recipes. Well, that's all good, enjoy yourself, but here's the thing, there are two emotions we're having challenge with at this time. We are stressed, number one, which is obvious. A lot of us have lost our jobs. A lot of the people are unemployed. There are financial difficulties. We don't know how we're doing our mortgage payments, rent payments. There are studies for children, finances to take care of certain things, our health concerns. So the extreme stress we're going through. And the other part is also boredom, which I call isolation fatigue. We're also bored, we're anxious, we've been locked down for such a long time that we're ready to go out, do our normal thing that we do. In both these situations, we like to comfort ourselves with food. Whenever we are dealing with this situation, the body tends to seek foods which help us feel better or give us comfort at a very different level. Primarily, those are junk foods, fried foods, your cookies and donuts and stuff like that. So all the sugary stuff. So yeah, a lot of East Indian households are making a lot of desserts. We have gulab jamun today, and we have kheer tomorrow, and we have gajar ka halwa, and mom made some other dish. We have puri, chana and chole bhature and all that. We are frying samosas, excellent. But we're also having a lot of calories, and we're feeding just our emotional self. We're not actually feeding our bodies. So it's very important to keep track of that. And please remember that physically we are not giving much output. Our routine is very different now, but we're intaking a lot of high calorie food. So here's what you can do. Because of the stress and anxiety and the boredom we feel, we're trying to fill that artificially. We're eating too much to just fill that emptiness. So rather have smaller meals. I would say maintain the regular routine you do usually from Monday to Friday. Before the coronavirus happened, we used to just have a regular home cooked meal, and usually on the weekends the families go out for perhaps a dinner night, or you go to a fast food chain, whatever it might be. Try to keep that routine, try to maintain that, and try to avoid sugar. The other thing that's important here in diet-wise, what we do is we try to use alcohol. I'm aware of a lot of people right now who are drinking more than necessary. We take alcohol to an abusive level. We also use drugs. Why do we do this? Again, as I said, two primary emotions we're dealing with is stress, anxiety, and boredom. And we're trying to fill that emptiness, trying to fill that need to feel comfort with the help of alcohol. It is a temporary solution. It makes us forget our worries, just relaxes the mind for a little bit, but it's not a good solution. So be mindful of that. Drink lots of water. We should be taking care of that part. Let's talk about sleep. A lot of us are not sleeping enough these days. Right now, it's more than necessary to maintain your 8 hours of sleep. Why so? Because when you feel rested, your body's relaxed, your body's generated feel-good hormones, you have more clarity of thought. Your brain is able to process information at a much better level. Emotionally and physically as well, you coordinate well. That's why we always say when kids are cranky and they're irritated, what do we say? We say, they need to sleep. Exactly. Same thing with the adults as well. Just because we're home doesn't mean you have to watch every series on Netflix, you have to watch every rerun of a show or a movie. Please enjoy it again. Make the routine Monday to Friday as you go to work, you spend your evening hours and go to bed at a decent time. Especially children, please, now that they're home, they need to more than ever have that routine. Again, as I said, if you're well rested, you have much more clarity of thought. Often if we are concerned about a thing, we say, let's sleep it over, we will think about it in the morning. Because again, when we're rested, we're able to better cope and understand how to move forward. Talking about exercise. Yes, very important because we are not exercising as much, but we are eating more than necessary. So a lot of the concern I've heard is, I can't do anything because my gym is closed. Sure enough, yes, that's true. But that's not an excuse. Now the weather is beautiful, go out for a walk in your neighborhood. Maybe you like running or biking. Again, be cautious that you're going to maintain the 6 feet distance and you only go with your family members. Very important to do that. A lot of people are complaining, hey, my cardio, my treadmill. Here's a simple solution. Be creative at home. We all have staircases in our households. I bet you can do 10 to 15 runs up and down your staircase and you have a good cardio workout. Now again, be mindful if you're capable of doing that, go ahead and do that. A lot of my men folk have complained that we lift weights, we have the gym equipment, we don't have at home. You know what? All the flour bags that we filled in our pantries, the atta bags we picked up in the pantry, we've stored so many of them. I think average is 15-20 pounds. Go lift them up. That's a good workout. If you have little kids at home, lift them. That's a good weight lift, and it's an activity for the kids to join you as well. We are in our Indian community, we love Bollywood music. Dance. Put on some good music, put on some Hindi numbers, and dance your heart out. Involve your family. This is a great way to have a good cardio workout and also get your children engaged. So see, you have to just be creative. There's so much of online content, yoga videos, workout videos you can use. The other new hobby that I found out is gardening. I'm not much of a gardener, don't know much, but because I've been at home, I've cleaned up my yard, I've prepped it up to plant some flowers. Here's the thing, not only it relaxes you, not only it connects you to the nature, but when you plant a seed and you every day follow its growth, it's a new seed of hope. You are hoping for it to give you some positive outcome, whether it's flowers, fruits, or vegetables. And right now, for our mental health, that's a good outlet. Lastly, let's talk about spiritual effect. What do I mean by that? Now, spiritual and religious effect is two different things. This is not about any religion specifically. A spiritual effect means how are we connecting to everything universally that's going around with us. I think, in my personal opinion, this is a very good moment nature has provided for us to pause and reflect in the true sense. What is our priority? Where is life taking us? I think, collectively we make an effort. We connect with our nature, our environment. We are seeing videos and there's information all around how wildlife has just come to life. They've just come out into the areas and they're exploring the human world. So let's get better at it. Let's value what we value most and work towards that. If you pray, if you're religious, please do so for the entire humanity. For once, don't think about yourself because we're all in the same boat. Collectively, pray to the Almighty, whichever religion you belong to, for the greater good, for peace and health and prosperity for everybody that we are on this planet. And lastly, everything is not, gloom and doom. There's hope. I'm sure we will come out of this much more stronger, but here's the key. Reflect on how you want to move towards the future. What are your goals? What is important to you? It's made me realize that I spend so much unnecessarily. That's not the need. We're just doing some fluffy stuff for no reason. So let's not go back to the rat race. Let's do a positive thought process on how you want to lead your life with your loved ones, with your family members, and in general with the universe together. So thank you so very much for giving me your time, and I hope I was able to share some positive thoughts during this time, and I sure hope you all can take care of yourself and start from home, communicate with your loved ones and take care of them. And we're all going to come out from this much stronger. Thank you and namaskar.